Aboro aboye. When I was in my first couple of years of college, I remember meeting an older brother, and I was telling him about my aspirations and all the things I wanted to accomplish. And I remember he said to me, "You got to get the coin, young blood. You got to get the coin." And so at first I thought he was trying to say that I need to get paid. So yeah, you're right. I need to get paid. I need to get paid in full. He's like, no, no, you need to get the coin. And so I'm confused. Like, what's the coin? So he described it to me. I said, I don't get it. What's the coin? And so another time, I'm slow. Even to this day, I'm slow. But I'm not hesitant to ask questions and get it right. So I kept asking him. I don't understand. What do you mean get the coin? Break it down one more time, pops. What is it? What you talking about? What's the coin? So finally, he said something that clicked for me. And I get it. The coin is the medium of exchange. The coin is the medium of exchange. If you're in the United States, you have dollars. If you're in Mexico, you have pesos. In Nigeria, you have naira. Okay, those are the medium of exchange. If you have them, then you're able to transact business. If you don't have them, then you sit outside and watch people enter and exit. They go into the mall and they come out with bags. Okay, and that's as good as it gets if you don't have the coin. And the coin is the medium of exchange in any environment. Every environment has different coin. Within Orisha lifestyle, the coin is knowledge and skill, right? It's knowledge and skill. This is something that you see featured very highly in the Afro-Cuban tradition. Emo, They put a lot of emphasis on emo knowledge, okay, and that's totally in keeping with the West African tradition. Knowledge is very important, and so it's because of that training and education are of the utmost importance. All right. Training and education are of the utmost importance within the practice of Orisha lifestyle. Now, this is the School of Orisha Studies, and I'm your instructor, Obafemi Origunwa. And today, I want to share a really very important lesson on the significance of getting trained before you get initiated. All right. Now, there's a lot of people who do not want you to get trained before you get educated. Before you get initiated. There are a lot of people who do not want you to be trained before you get initiated. You say, well, why? Why would somebody want to prevent me from being, trained? What's that all about? Well, because if you're trained, when you are trained, when you're trained, because you're going to get trained, when you're trained, you're free. You see, when you're certified and you're authorized, you're free. You can go where you want to go. You can do what you need to do because you have been trained to function and perform. You understand what I'm saying? So now what's happening right now? What's happening right now is that you're seeing a movement wherein a lot of priests are targeting people who don't know 10 words of Yoruba, couldn't identify 5 places on Yoruba land, don't know 5 things about Yoruba culture or civilization, know zero about Yoruba history, couldn't distinguish between the influence of Egbe or Abeji or Ori or ancestors. They couldn't make the distinction between one or the other to save their life. Right? You're brand new. You're green. It's not an insult to you. These are specialized, refined skills that have to be cultivated. They know you don't know any of that, but you come in. You're interested. You're curious. You're willing to work. You have the money. And so what do? They initiate you and they give you these nice beads. And they give you this wonderful pot. And they give you this elaborate ceremony. And they bestow upon you a title. Right? All the while knowing you couldn't use those beads if your life depended on it. You don't know what to do with that pot. And that title is completely irrelevant. You can't do anything with any of those things because you have not been trained. So anytime you want to do anything, what do you got to do? You got to go and ask. You got to go and ask. You got to go and ask. Okay? So you're on the hook. You're on the hook. And there's no even semblance of a program for how you get off the hook. All right, proof's in the pudding. Here's a challenge. What is it called when someone graduates in Ifa? What is it called? What's the ceremony called? What's it called when someone graduates in Orisha? What's it called? What does the ceremony of the process entail? When you have completed all of your training and now you've graduated and you're authorized, what does that entail? Do you know anyone who has completed this course of study and training? Have you ever seen a picture or a video of anybody graduating and completing their course of study? I would love to see those comments. I'd love to see people post the images and the videos in the thread here. Links, right? Of all the people over the last 20, 30, 40 years who've graduated. I want to see those. Okay? It's a trick bag. It's a trick bag. So, the reason why I'm emphasizing it this way is because they're going to tell you, oh, initiation, a $9,000, a $7,000, a $12,000 initiation is one thing, but training is something different. But who's getting that training? And where's the evidence that that training is taking place? I want to see it. Right? So you're being put into a trick bag. All the people who are trying to discourage you from getting trained before you get initiated, they're trying to string you along. All the people who are trying to convince you that you're somehow going to get initiated and then later on down the line they're going to train you. That's a trick bag. All the ones who are promising you that you've got to get initiated so that you can know your destiny, but they can't define destiny. That's a trick bag. You're being strung along. Okay? And this is totally counter to what our ancestors have struggled to accomplish for us. Our ancestors didn't endure centuries of slavery and Jim Crow and segregation. They didn't endure all that and be force-fed Christianity only to create the freedom for us to now choose our own indigenous knowledge systems and have us choose to be enslaved within those systems. That's not what the game is all about, boys and girls. That is not what the game is all about. Now, this reminds me of a verse of Ifa wherein Eshu was actually a slave. He was a slave. Eshu was a slave of Orunmila, Orisha Oko, Obatala, and Ogun. Eshu was a slave of Orunmila, Orisha Oko, Obatala, and Ogun. And at this time, Eshu was a master fisherman. And not only that, he had a particular gift for making nets. In Africa, when they fish, they're using nets. It's not with a pole and a line, right? So Eshu made these magnificent nets that would catch the most fish, and so he was using the nets to give them to the Orisha. On one hand, he was forced to make nets for them, and on the other hand, he would fish and sell the fish to use the money to buy his freedom. So now, every time Eshu would get closer to get free, the Orishas would sabotage him, and they would do something that would slow down the process and prevent him from being able to pay off his debt, and thereby he could become free. So one day, as Eshu was approaching completion, he went to consult Ifa. Ifa says, Eshu, you're about to accomplish something important. You've been striving to do something for a long time and it's been evading you, and you're going to be successful, but you got to make a sacrifice. And when you make the sacrifice, though, you're going to take it just to the edge of town and you're going to deposit these items on the edge of town. So Eshu made the sacrifice. And shortly thereafter, the Orisha, Obatala, Orunmila, Orisha Oko, and Ogun, they got together and they realized Eshu is about to get free. We can't allow that. We depend on him. Eshu is making us bank. His nets are over the top. We cannot allow him to get free. So what did they do? They sent Eshu on an errand. He said, Eshu, we need you to go to this place. And so this place is about, let's say, a day's journey. And so what they had intended to happen was Eshu was going to go out, and when he was, you know, 2 or 3 hours away, and they knew he was, you know, it was going to take him another 3 or 4 hours before he was going to return, they were going to destroy all of his nets, which would prevent him from being able to make the money to get his freedom. Right? And so they sent Eshu on this errand. But unbeknownst to them, what they sent him to go get was in the sacrificial offerings that he had put just on the edge of town. So Eshu only traveled like an hour, and he had the materials, and he came back. And what did he find when he returned? He found these 4 Orishas destroying his nets, and they were just shocked. Eshu, okay, look, we're sorry. We will free you. But just don't tell nobody that this is what's going on. Please, we beg you, Eshu. You know, Eshu finally got the coin. Right? He made the sacrifice that was necessary that would allow him to have the coin. And for you, the coin is being trained. More precisely, it's being trained before you get initiated. That's your coin. That's how you prevent yourself from being caught up in that situation in the first place. If you're trained before you're initiated, you will not be enslaved. All right? If you're educated, if you have certification, if you have authorization, if you can carry out the duties that are necessary to, you know, maintain your spiritual well-being, you're free. Now, let me be clear. When I say free, I don't mean free to go out and be impersonating a priest or to be divining for people or initiating people or anything like that. No, I mean you're able to be a competent devotee. You see, because if before you're initiated, you need to be a competent devotee. After initiation, you need to be a competent devotee. If you never get initiated, you need to be a competent devotee. That's what we focus on in the School of Orisha Studies. How do you become a competent devotee? How do you observe the calendar? How do you do your ijuba? How do you recite your oriki? How do you throw obi? How do you make the basic offerings? Just the fundamentals of being a good devotee. It's not that complicated, okay? And I want to challenge you. I'm going to challenge you here, you know, because people will tell you, oh no, you get initiated and then you get trained. You know, you're going to get a $10,000 initiation. But then for you to get trained on how to use these beads and this pot and that title, you're going to have to, I don't know, pay more money or put in more time or something. That part is totally never defined. And I want you to think about something. How many people do you know who have graduated? How many babalawos do you know who have graduated? They've completed their course of study. It's possible. How many of you know the name of a graduation? What is it called when you graduate as a babalawo or as an Orisha priest? What's it called? What does the process entail? Okay? Do you know anyone who's done it? I want to share in the comments section what the name of the graduation is and share pictures of all the people that you know over the last 20, 15, 10 years. All the people who've graduated. Right? You're not going to find them. I personally, I can only think of one person who has actually graduated. As a teacher, that's pure madness. If I tell you I can teach you Spanish, I know how I'm going to get you from point A to point B. I know it. If I tell you I can teach you how to quit smoking, yeah, I can take you from point A to point B to point C. If I tell you that I can teach you to be a competent devotee, I can take you from point A to point B to point C. I can explain it to you. I can articulate it for you. I can lay it out. These are the steps. This is the process. This is how long it should take you. How is it possible that we're initiating tens of thousands of people, but you don't know anybody who's ever graduated? In 40 years? You don't know anybody who's graduated? What kind of program is that? Okay? And so we cannot continue to insult our ancestors in this way. All right? They've already paid the price. They've already made the sacrifice. Your job is to use your natural gifts and talents to serve the people who you're destined to serve. That does not include you becoming a perpetual slave in the name of your religious development. That's the opposite of religious development. Spiritual freedom must be the objective of your spiritual discipline. I mean, that's pretty basic. And so your freedom is the coin. And that coin is acquired through you being trained before you are initiated. Aboru aboye. Aboshishe.